Yo, Tripolar Bear. I played some Diablo 4, got to the end game, got a little bored, so we're back to POE, and I kind of just wanted to make a little video talking about what I'm doing and what's going on. So first of all, I started a private league because I know there's a few other, POE players who didn't really get as much as they wanted out of Diablo 4. We're just waiting for the next season, yada yada. So I figured I'd make a private league. So we just had something, literally anything to do on our way to ExileCon because we're still like 40 something days out. Okay, I didn't want to remind anybody, ruin any days, but yeah, we still have a little bit of time left. So I'm in a private league. We got 300 players. Check it out. It'll be linked down below. It's popping. Okay, global 333. But I might as well make the private league useful and do a little bit of Leaguestart testing. So here we are testing Boneshatter Juggernaut. I'm thinking of making my Slayer guide into Boneshatter Juggernaut. So let's go over Slayer versus Boneshatter, in my opinion, and kind of what I've gathered from others as well. The thing is, Slayer is much better, especially even where I'm at right now with the character, especially so in like Leaguestart, so the very early versions of the build. And I'd say probably up to like 50 something div plus, Slayer's going to be better. It's just going to have a nicer recovery. It's going to have more damage. It's going to be more comfortable with the huge AoE you get. Or you get like 50 AoE on Slayer. You're getting +4 strike range. You're even getting like 50 increased accuracy, which does still kind of help out with hitting your precise technique, right? You have to have more accuracy than you do life. So it's pretty snazzy for that. And then you just get, 20 culling. You get all the damage. You get a bunch of extra speed. Like, man, you get so much on a Leaguestart Slayer. But what you don't get on Leaguestart Slayer is a really good way to scale Boneshatter, whereas Jugg can go Divergent Boneshatter, stack a bunch of armor, get a bunch of physical taken as elemental damage, and just mitigate a lot of that Boneshatter damage, and then scale that Divergent Boneshatter, which gives you extra attack speed per stack of trauma. You get to scale that even more with an Ashes, and so you can really start to get like a pretty juicy Boneshatter going on once you get to like 50, 100 div. So while Slayer is better in Leaguestart, Slayer isn't really better, past, it depends for every player, right? But like once you're putting 50 plus divs into a build and you want to be able to like scale it more without having to swap, right? Because like, to be honest, you kind of like hit a point on Slayer and your only option really is to just respec to another build or farm for another build on whatever you've gotten together on Slayer. And so I'd like to, even if it's worse in a Leaguestart, technically for like the first week or however long it takes you to upgrade your character and whatnot, I should be expecting you guys to get enough currency, right? I mean, all you have to do is watch my videos and learn how to make currency, right? Doing essence, what I'm doing like right now pretty much in the private league. Is how you would make pretty easy currency, right? You can even do it in white maps. I'm doing it here, although it's a lot slower to do the essences in red maps. I'm doing it mainly for the eater progress because I'm going to have to be able to farm my own ashes and I'm in a private league and all that. But yeah, that's pretty much the TLDR for Slayer versus Boneshatter. Slayer's better early on. Juggernaut scales harder later on. So I might as well be able to have higher scaling option for people who want to keep playing the build instead of just this weird thing where you're really powerful and then you kind of like hit a cap and eventually Jugg will outshine you. But yeah, I just wanted to test out Boneshatter Juggernaut. Honestly, it doesn't feel like too weak. You're kind of just a little bit beefy. You're a little beefier than Slayer. You can get a lot of armor. You're still like running into this problem where you stack like way too hard, and sometimes there's the cycling damage reduction monster and you're doing like 10% of the damage that you'd normally do. I mean, that's just arch nemesis, but Jugg is kind of nice. Especially for essences, you can kind of just like sit there. The only time I die really is just when I'm like out ramping myself, right? On the cycling damage reduction where I do like absolutely no damage until, I don't know what it is, 10 seconds have passed. But yeah, it's pretty fun, honestly. Boneshatter, still probably gonna be a viable league starter. I can't imagine. Let's address that. Some people are probably gonna be triggered if I do Leaguestart testing in the thumbnail or the title or whatever, because we don't even know what the new league is gonna be. But come on, man, keep it a buck. Are they really going to nerf Boneshatter? Like the worst thing that could, and they're not going to nerf Boneshatter, right? The most they would do is maybe even buff it, okay? Let's be honest. I don't think Boneshatter is going to get nerfed. And if it is, then holy, they better be buffing every other melee ability. because this is the only one that doesn't feel the absolute worst to play, right? Let's be real, you guys. There's not that many options for nice melee. I mean, you have stuff like you could do Cyclone, Impale, whatever the hell, Slayer. That's kind of slow, right? You have General Cries. You're not really melee. And then, geez, I don't even know what after that, right? It's kind of just Boneshatter for Leaguestart in my mind. I mean, yeah, there's other options, but yeah. So with the gear I have now, it's pretty comfortable, not like super easy to farm red maps. You're not like blasting anything. I mean, you saw the map I did for Expedition. You have to skip the remnants. For altars, you can't do any of the crazy mods. For filtering your maps, you have to filter them pretty heavily with a regex, which is something you should be doing already, but I kind of filter them down pretty well. I really maxed that thing out. You know, I think it's a max of 50 characters. I use them all for my regex. But for the gear I got, you know, hey man, it's not that bad. This is an axe. I kind of just spent a few contempt until I hit a good attack speed alongside it. I kind of just spammed essence until 2 mod, which is kind of cringe, but I did a YOLO Ashling and I hit prefix and then whatever. Otherwise, there'll be crafting guides and whatnot with the article. I mean, crafting axes, I'm sure you could find one on YouTube as well. I'm not going to go over that entirely now. And then on the Crucible tree, I just have the 40 increased attack speed and 20 global damage, which is really nice. Like, dude, the attack speed is huge on Boneshatter, right? So it's really important you get a bunch of attack speed. That's why we use a Despot axe base as well. It's got good base attack speed, and then I hit T1 attack speed. Very nice. Everything else is just like generic, rare, you know, with Eldritch implicits, and I don't even have the good Eldritch implicits on my body yet. But the helmet, you need the fizz taken as fire and the reduced mana cost. It just makes it comfortable. I hit life regen, so I said, screw it, I'll keep it. And then you do the Corel craft, right? You unveil Corel helmet and you'll get that craft, and then you can craft it on your stuff. I'm using Hinakora Sight. Eventually I do want to drop this, but it's got a lot of accuracy and evasion rating, so that works well with Jugg because you get a bunch of attack speed, and I need as much accuracy as I have life. I need a little bit more, right? So I think I'm totally fine right now. As far as accuracy goes, for precise technique, I'm over capping it by a lot, right? I have 6,100. I only have 3.8k life. Life is something I need more on my gear, right? Like this ring has 5 life. This is something I'm farming essences for, and then I have just crafted life here. My body armor is just like 80 crafted, but you know, whatever, dude. It's 6 linked, it has 2 res, and it rolled suppression, so that's fine enough. Gloves, I'm using the Adrenaline and Onslaught when leech is removed by filling unreserved life. Pretty much all this means is you use Blood Rage on a physical attack build. Then you kind of just get free adrenaline and onslaught a lot of the time. Not like all the time, but man, it's pretty fun. It's like, these are really nice pair of gloves. But I don't even know, I don't think I even pressed Blood Rage through that map. So it's something I gotta do, right? This build has a few buttons that you gotta get used to. So yeah, but then the boots are just like garbage, right? It's just suppression, 2 good res, and then I have no life on them. So it's just like a lot of life I'm missing. You know, this isn't that bad, but yeah, it's just a lot of like this, you know, in the private league, it's half SSF, right? We're all kind of like talking, we're sharing a lot of gear. Everybody's kind of like doing their own farm. I'm using all of my chaos to just blast essences. I have like expedition as well. So this is kind of my like starter tree. Probably going to go into beasts because we need more beasts and whatnot, but it's like half SSF, right? So I kind of just got to take what I can get, and eventually I'll be able to craft some more stuff with all the essences I'm farming. Hopefully I'll be able to get rings that have more life. And then I need the minus. I don't need it, right? But having the helmet implicit and then both rings having the minus mana cost would be really nice, because there are some situations where I'm kind of running low on mana, whether I'm missing some bone shatter attacks or I don't know, like sometimes I can't pop berserk. I just don't have my leech getting back fast enough all of my mana that I need while I have a bunch of bone shatter stacks. So sometimes I have to like let off the bone shatter gas so I can press berserk, and then I can really put that to the floor. But yeah, that's just like one small annoyance for only having 1 minus mana, and I could just give up 50 life. It's whatever, dude. Everything else is just like 20 gems, super generic. So this is like, you know, I mean, heck, man, if this is what it takes for you to be able to do your red maps, or at least blast white map strategies like Essence Bestiary, or you could just do like logbooks, you know, in Trade League and whatnot. I have a bunch of logbooks I've just been farming. That's pretty much how I got my divs, and a lot of my chaos is just like blasting that, and then I just need to turn all of this chaos into essences and craft my gear. But yeah, as far as the next big upgrades are concerned, I mean, like getting a better axe, you know, like it's not that bad, but I kind of really only took this base because I finally hit the 40 attack speed and I knew how good that was. And then getting like ashes, starting to get divergent, getting the correct implicits, and then just actually having suppression capped. Because right now I'm lucky suppress capped, which is really cope. right? It's 75% spell suppression chance. With my quartz up, it becomes 85, and then that 85 is rolled twice because of lucky. So it's close enough. It's good enough. I mean, on Leaguestart, this suppression lucky node is super, super broken. So I think you're going to see that taken on like every build that isn't literally like right here grabbing this. Like any non-range or non-shadow build pretty much will just like grab one wheel. They'll come down here to entrench, grab that plus suppression lucky, and then they'll grab this. I'm using my anoint right now for suppression as well. But yeah, I gotta figure out what I want to do with suppression. I kind of gotta get it on my helmet. I have it on my boots and my body armor. And then I might have to give up the gloves. I don't know what I want to do with the gloves too, because the thing is, adrenaline I can get from a ring, right? We can do Death Rush, which I believe has accuracy as well, so it wouldn't even be that bad. It would help me with my accuracy. But then I just do like onslaught on kill on my boots, or I use a silver flask, something like that. But man, having the adrenaline up, I really, really like it. I think this is kind of just like a nice little setup you do for a bit. But eventually, I probably do want to swap to suppression gloves because, you know, they're going to have life. I'm going to be able to cap my suppression. I'll get more accuracy, res, whatever it is. And then the big thing is also going to be the additional strikes, which is pretty nice. So having like one additional strike in addition to the one I get from the attack mastery is probably going to feel pretty nice. And then whatever I get from Ancestral Cry. But yeah, I mean, hey, that's Boneshatter Juggernaut. It's pretty fun. You're kind of tanky. You're not playing it for the early game, but that doesn't mean you're not able to farm your like red maps or whatever. It's just like with a build like this, you just can't yet click every single remnant, every single altar. But I mean, like very rarely are you going to be able to do that on your League starter. You kind of have to progress your build, right? That's kind of the progression path of POE builds. Eventually, once you juice it enough, the whole point is then you can start to ignore everything, right? You just put the remnants down, or you just click every single altar that isn't minus resistances. Like, oh, double fizz is 200% physical is extra cold? Who cares, right? But we are not there yet. We don't have our ailments solved. We don't have like all of the armor uptime that I'd want, right? I have like 90k armor, but that's like only when flasks are up, and my flasks do provide me an absolute F ton of armor because I have the I also have the evasion node. I'll talk about that quick. But you see, like when my flasks go down, then my Boneshatter ramp really starts to hurt. I have this, so this gives you an extra 15 suppression if each of your slots has evasion rating. So another thing this build really needs is evasion and armor on every slot, because there is also an armor mastery for like 1 max res. I'll be taking that, and the 2 max res by Marauder. You see, like, dude, I'm way too ramped up. Sometimes you gotta chill out when your flasks go down. You have no berserk. It's a little bit rough, but you just pay attention. It's not so bad. But yeah, a lot of my stuff is conditional because this is while phasing. Then I have a quartz flask with armor on it. I have my jade. I have my quicksilver with evasion. So yeah, it's just a lot of edges I need to smooth up. Anyways, I rambled long enough. This is a cute little video. You should join the private league because there's nothing else to do unless you're playing Diablo 4. But if you're not, join the private league, man. It'll be linked down in the description. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.